Hear you. So delegation, I believe, is not as difficult as people make it. And I used to be that same exact way. I would hire an admin and I would look over their back. I would try to help them because for some reason I had this weird guilty feeling of tasking people with things, which eventually I was able to get over. But here's how it is. I have now a director of operations, and she does this for all of the agents at our firm. From offer to closing, she coordinates everything. She is the point of contact for everything. And if I said to that client, you're going to be hearing from Lori, she's going to do all the documents and the transaction coordinating, they'd still reach out to me. They'd reach out and say, hey, was I supposed to do with the insurance? Or the lender just asked me this, what should I do? Because I never asserted that that is their person. So when I'm talking to a client and I say, look, I gave you 100% of my attention while I was showing you houses, and you know that I do training online with people, and I also have agents here in my firm. So I'm either on a call, I'm showing houses. So if you call me, you're going to have to wait 30 minutes to an hour unless you are able to reach me. If you give Lori a text or a call, you're going to get that answer in 3 minutes because she knows the process like the back of her hand. In fact, she is more up to date on the speed of things with the vendors and the attorneys than I am because I don't communicate with them as frequently as she does. So you are more likely to get a solid answer from my director of operations than you are from me, because what I'm going to tell you is, hey, let me go talk to my director of operations. And then now you've got to wait another 20 minutes. So the confidence level that I have in her shows when I speak to my agents. So when you hire someone and you set up these systems, you need to believe in them, because when you're talking to your clients, if you are nervous about someone else being part of your business and your growth, that's going to show, and they're going to keep coming back to you. So don't get me wrong. I do not, my relationship with my clients is so important. So while she writes the offer and sends that over and then she collaborates everything, I touch base with them. So usually I try to do it on Fridays and Mondays just because that's what my block schedule allows. And what I do is I say, hey, are you guys still excited? Is there anything that you wanted me to check in with Lori on? And that Lori is my director of operations. So, and usually there's like what I get all the time is, yeah, we're so excited, or no, don't worry, we've already been talking to Lori. And so usually the conversations that I get to have with my clients are fun. So I say, did you guys start window shopping yet? And it's fun and it's light, and it's the only time that I really have to get back into the mud is when we're making some negotiations for repairs or something. But at the end of the day, when I go home from work, that's it. She's taking care of it. I don't then go home and say, oh my gosh, give me a brief on everything that you did today, because we have systems in place where I could pull up a window in our database and just see that it's done. So if you don't have systems in place that you trust, then you can't hire someone to use those systems and then have confidence in them. So the problem is not with you being scared to give it to someone, it's you not being willing to delegate your work. But don't you think that your clients deserve 100% of your time? The way that I'm not picking up the phone call that I'm having right now. What I'm doing is I'm giving you 100% of my attention, because that's what you deserve. So that's what your clients deserve. They deserve also someone that's going to be able to answer them anytime they have a minute and they need assistance, or even if they're having an anxiety attack and they need to be talked to. They deserve someone, because that's the kind of service you told me you want to give them. So it's not in, oh, I'm just worried that they're not going to be able to give them the same service that I give them. Well, can you give 10 people at a time the same amount of attention? Like, it's just impossible. So if you want to grow, you also have to be willing to set up systems that you have confidence in and have an employee that you have nothing but confidence in, because people feel it. I mean, they know how you feel whether or not you tell them.